Stop what you're doing right now. I need a few seconds of your full attention. Not because this is content, not because this is a message meant for everyone who stumbles across it, but because what is happening around you in the next few hours is not random, and if nobody stops you today, you will leave a door wide open without ever knowing it was there. This is a spiritual emergency, and I need you to hear what I'm about to say from the inside out, not from your head but from your gut, because your gut already knows something is wrong. It is known for a while. You have held. That's the first thing I need to say to you. Through every season that should have broken you, and there were seasons designed specifically to break you, you did not let go. The attacks came in waves. The losses lined up in ways that felt organized, systematic, like something was running a coordinated campaign against your life and your home. And people around you got their breakthrough. People who prayed less, who sacrificed less, who had not been in the fire the way you've been in the fire. Money moved in their direction. Peace settled in their houses. And you stood there watching, thinking, it's never hit my hands. Everybody else's, but not mine. I've never gotten a penny of it, and you kept standing anyway. That is not weakness. That is the posture of a chosen one. You are more than tired. You know that word doesn't cover it anymore. Tired is what you call it when you tell people you're okay. But when you're alone, at 2 in the morning when the house is quiet and your chest is tight and you can hardly breathe, you know the real word. Exhausted doesn't even reach it. Your body has been keeping watch for so long that the act of rest feels like a threat. Like if you stop being vigilant for 1 hour, the thing circling your house will find the gap. You've been your own night watchman, and that is an unbearable weight to carry alone. There was a night recently, maybe last night, maybe 3 nights ago, when the fear was physical. You were scared in a way that wasn't rational, in a way that grabbed your chest and wouldn't let go. You could not breathe. Too much nervousness, too much shaking. And you didn't know what it was exactly. You just knew something was pressing in. That was not anxiety. That was spiritual perception. Your spirit was reading the atmosphere around your home accurately, even when your mind tried to explain it away. And then there's the betrayal. The face that smiled at you while the blade was already drawn. The person you let into your inner circle, the one you prayed over, the one you defended. They were not who they said they were. The destroyer doesn't always knock on your door wearing a stranger's face. Sometimes he sends someone who knows your name, someone who had access to your prayers, your fears, your trust. That wound doesn't heal the same way as other wounds. It goes deeper, because it found you where you were open. I need to tell you something, and I need you to receive it as truth and not as comfort. There is a path through what you are facing. It is specific, it is already prepared, and it is waiting for you in the pinned comment below this video. You don't need to do anything right now except keep watching, but know that it exists. And before we go further, if what I've described has named your reality, if you recognized yourself in even one of those moments, I want to ask you to press that like button right now. Not as a favor to me, as a prophetic act of agreement, because what you're agreeing to is this. I declare clarity over the next 72 hours of my life. That's what that press means. That's what it releases. There is something that has been moving toward your house. And the reason I can say that with this kind of certainty is because of what the scripture shows us about how the destroyer operates. In Daniel chapter 10, the prophet prayed, and his answer was dispatched from heaven the very same day he opened his mouth. But the answer didn't arrive for 21 days. For 3 weeks, Michael, the archangel, the prince who stands over the people of God, was engaged in a battle in the invisible realm that Daniel couldn't see, couldn't feel, couldn't measure. The silence wasn't abandonment. The delay wasn't rejection. It was invisible war. And the word that finally broke through had been on its way the entire time. The warrior posture during those 21 days was not shouting. It was standing. It was continuing to believe in the silence. If you have been in a season of silence, if the heavens have felt like brass and your prayers have felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling, you have been in a Daniel moment, not a forgotten moment. There is a difference, and you needed to know that today. Now I need to tell you what the destroyer is and why he is at your door. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 23, the King James reads it this way, "For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. The destroyer, that is not a metaphor. That is a named principality with a specific assignment, and that assignment is not random. Houses that have nothing in them, lives that carry nothing of spiritual weight, bloodlines with no covenant inheritance, those are not under siege. Empty houses don't get besieged. The destroyer does not waste his resources on territory that holds no kingdom value. If the destroyer has come to your door, and I believe with everything in me that this is exactly what has been happening, it is because he knows who you are. He knows what your bloodline carries. He knows what your family was built to release into this earth. He does not come for the chosen one out of habit. He comes because the chosen one is a threat. That is your first breakthrough right now. Receive it. The very siege you are living under is proof of your assignment and proof of your value in the kingdom. Now I want to give you something you can use tonight. It is called the Sealed Door Protocol, and it comes directly from the two passages I just named. Step 1. You name out loud what has been knocking. You do not rehearse it in your mind. You say it with your voice. You name the fear. You name the pattern. You name what has been pressing in against your home and your family. Because giving it a name strips it of the power it holds in the dark. What you can name, you can address. What you keep unnamed stays formless, and formless things feel infinite. Step 2. You declare Exodus 12:23 over your home in first person, out loud. You say it over the doors, over the thresholds. The blood of the covenant covers this house. The destroyer has no authority here. The Lord himself stands as witness and as guard. You are not performing a ritual. You are establishing a legal boundary in the spiritual realm. Step 3. You invoke the angelic covering with Psalm 91, verses 11 and 12, in the King James. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. You are not asking for something new. You are activating a covering that was already assigned. You are the chosen one declaring what already belongs to you. Step 4. You sit in 3 minutes of intentional silence. Not passive silence, active warrior silence. The posture of someone who has spoken what is true and now rests in the fact that the battle was already fought before you knew you needed it. This is the hardest step for people who have been in survival mode, because silence feels like vulnerability. But this silence is a declaration. I believe. I have said what is true. I do not have to earn this with more noise. That is the Sealed Door Protocol. Do it tonight before you sleep. But I need to tell you something that the protocol itself will show you as you do it. One door sealed is not a sealed house. The destroyer knows entrances you haven't thought about yet. He knows the gap in a relationship. He knows the grief you haven't processed. He knows the vow that was spoken over you in your childhood home that you've never broken in the spirit. The protocol is a real weapon, but a weapon is not a system. And what I have prepared for you in the next step goes further than a single night's declaration. It is the full architecture, the way to govern your home, not just defend it. If you want to go deeper, the full path is waiting for you right now in the pinned comment below. Don't click yet, stay with me. Here is the gap that most believers in spiritual warfare never close. They respond, they react, they fight when the destroyer shows up at the door, and they go back to normal when the pressure lifts. And then the destroyer comes back through a different entrance, and the cycle starts again. Not because their faith is weak, not because God abandoned them, because isolated gestures are not the same as a system. You cannot seal a house one door at a time while the destroyer maps the rest of the structure. The era of emergency response is over for you. Starting today, not next month, not after the next attack, you begin governing your house instead of just defending it. Here is what the full path walks you through. Movement 1 is identifying the gaps, the places in your life, your relationships, your generational inheritance that have been left unaddressed, not from laziness, but from lack of a map. You are not careless. You have never had anyone show you where the unsealed doors actually are. That changes now. Movement 2 is quieting the soul. Psalm 4, verse 8, the King James says, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. The chosen one does not grind through insomnia as a proof of devotion. The righteous man's sleep is part of the covenant. Movement 2 teaches you what that sleep actually looks like, and how to access it on the nights when the atmosphere is heavy and your body doesn't know how to stop keeping watch. Movement 3 is learning to decide with discernment, not reaction, not impulse, not the frantic moves you make when fear is in the driver's seat, but the calibrated, spirit-led clarity that separates a chosen one from someone who is simply surviving. You don't need Hebrew. You don't need a theological degree. You don't need to have lived a perfect life. What you need is what more than 3,400 people walking this path have already found. A system that seals the gaps while you sleep, so that when the destroyer comes back, and he will come back, he finds a sealed house and a rested warrior standing inside it. That is what's waiting for you in the pinned comment below. The Solomon Code. Go there now if you are ready. If you need another minute, take it. I'm not going anywhere. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one more thing. In the comments below this video, I want you to tell me 2 things, your city and your state. And then I want you to write the 4 words, I know who I am. Because that decree, typed out, visible, in your own words, that is a seed. That is an act of spiritual authority. And if this message has stirred something in someone in your life, a family member, a friend, someone you've been praying for who has been under this kind of siege, share this with them. You sharing is not marketing. You sharing is intercession. You are extending the covering. And finally, if you're not ready to take the next step today, that is all right. I have watched too many people who were ready yesterday talk themselves out of it by tomorrow. That is not discernment. That is a pattern the enemy has trained into you. That voice that says, wait, think about it, you'll come back to it. You know how that usually ends. But I trust you. I trust that the chosen one who has held through everything I described in this message is not going to walk away from the door that finally leads out of the siege. When you're ready, today, tonight, tomorrow morning, the pinned comment is there. The path is there. It was prepared for this exact moment. May the wisdom from above be your foundation today. May your soul find rest. Until we meet again.